Alright guys, let's move on to his specials. I know I breezed over his target combo, but I'll go over his target combos in the combo portion of this character breakdown. So let's move on to his Hadouken. So that's the light version, that's the medium version, and that's the hard version. So the harder the version that you're using, the faster it is, just like Ken's. And unlike Ken's, we use EX Fireball, knocks them down on hit. Just like any other fighting game that they've been in. So, how would you use Fireball? First of all, you don't want to use it as a block string. Never ever use it in a block string because it's very negative. In fact, so negative that it's punishable on all versions. So that's all versions of the Fireball, and they're punishable. And I know I used it really close, so let me show you a different demonstration. See, even from this distance, it's punishable. And then it gets to a point where at this distance, you wouldn't even use a Fireball, unless you're in their head and you know they're not going to jump out. So, let's back up a bit, and let's use the Fireball from this distance. Use it at this distance because you're out of reach from their jump-ins. So if they try to jump over, they won't be able to reach you. And instead, you can anti-air with a standing hard kick, your own shoryuken, or crouching hard punch if they're a little bit closer. But yeah, use it just like Ken's as a zoning tool, and to bait them into jumping in and things like that. And don't use it so close up. Alright, that's about it for his Hadoukens. It is a little faster. It starts up faster than Ken's. On block, the EX Fireball is safe, but it's still negative. So the AI is going for crouching medium punch. I'm also going for crouching medium punch, and mine's just getting beaten out. Unlike Ken's, Ken's is actually positive by 1 frame, so he can act before the opponent can. So that's one thing you should know about his Hadouken, although I wouldn't ever use it on block anyways to begin with, unless you're trying to protect a blocked crouching hard punch from being punished. But that's about it. So next, let's move on to his Shoryuken. So that's light version, medium version, and hard version. So obviously, the harder the version, the more damage it does, the farther it reaches. However, here's some important things to keep in mind. So just like Ken's, the medium version is the most invincible one. That's the one you want to wake up with, or you want to do a reversal with. The hard version is the one you want to do the most damage with. In other words, in combos. It does have some invincibility, but on wake up it's going to trade with a lot of normals, so you don't want to wake up with it ever. The EX version is also fully invincible on wake up, and it does 2 hits. And I do like that it has the Shin Shoryuken like animation to it. And one of the questions that people are probably wondering about is that, can you follow up after you anti-air with it? And the answer is, actually it is possible. You can do an EX Shoryuken afterwards, but they'll only reach in a corner, and you have to hit them as low as possible. And I don't know if I'm able to demonstrate. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I was able to demonstrate it, thankfully. I can't find any other conversions off of it, and I don't think I was able to do it without the counter hit. Yeah, I've never been able to do it without the counter hit, so I believe it has to be counter hit on a jump in, and then EX Shoryuken. Oops. But yeah, it's really hard for me to do this consistently, so I wouldn't recommend trying to convert afterwards. I have tried the super, but I've never gotten it to work. So the answer is you can follow up with it, but only with EX Shoryuken to my knowledge. And even then, it's really hard to do, and they do have to be in the corner. So just don't try to follow up with it. Alright, so next up we got his Hurricane Kick. So this whiffs over crouching characters, as I demonstrated earlier. So you don't ever want to use this, don't use this so randomly. Use it when you expect them to throw out a fireball. So, for example, let's have the dummy do fireball. Okay. demonstrate that you could go through a fireball. There we go. Well, that was a little bit too early. There we go. So yeah, it's one of the ways that Ryus can get through fireballs. It is a little situational because you do need to have the reaction for it. You need to be ready for the fireball, and also it depends on the character too. Like some of them, they don't have as much as a recovery as Ryu when doing the fireball. So yeah, one thing you also need to know is that it's very unsafe on block. So let's have the computer guard everything, and I'll show you. Alright, so light version, punishable. Medium version, punishable. And the heavy version is also punishable. So don't ever use this, don't use it too wildly. You gotta be careful about how you use this. So the main purpose of the Tatsumaki is as as a combo ender. So let's stop this guy from blocking like this. Because you gain the distance on them, you're still on top of them after the Tatsumaki, and you can meaty them with something. That was too early. Like that. So it's a really good combo ender. It does a pretty decent chunk of damage as opposed to a Hadouken. And yeah, it's just really good. Oh, the different versions. So the different versions, the harder you press it, the more damage it does. And the farther it goes, but of course it's also more unsafe and punishable if you do the harder versions. One thing that's neat about it is that for EX Tatsumaki, it does not whiff over crouching characters, so you do not need to confirm into crouching hard punch to combo into EX Tatsumaki. So that's one thing you can know about. You can remember. Let's see, it's multi-hit, EX Tatsumaki. What else? It's also hard to punish on block. Another thing you could use about it, you could use a EX Hurricane Kick. Let's say that you have a grab shenanigans going on. You know, you grab them over and over again, and then they try to grab on the next wake up. You can just, you can use EX. God dang it! You use EX Hurricane Kick because he's airborne. And if they grab, you know, they're trying to grab it, they're gonna get hit by the EX Hurricane Kick. It's a common strategy in Street Fighter 4. Daigo uses it very well, and in the corner, you can combo into your EX Shoryuken. To my knowledge, that's the only thing you can combo into. It does do a lot of damage, and it's one of the ways you can use 2 bars in the same combo in this game with Ryu. Alright, so let's cover his air Hurricane Kick. So, unlike Ken's, it knocks down. But just like Ken's, the hitbox on it is pretty crappy. You see that whiffing? You can see it trying to meet. I'm trying to cross over with it. I'm trying to hit them with it, and I just can't seem to hit it on a consistent basis. It's just really hard to connect with it unless you use it sort of late-ish. But yeah, in general, I wouldn't use this as an aerial normal to get as an aerial, you know, as a jump in. I mean, so you cannot follow it up even after counter hit. I've tested this already. Even if you use ball, even if you use super, I just couldn't find a way to follow up with it. Alright, the EX version of the aerial Hurricane Kick, it has the same properties as the grounded version. So let's say has to be done from a forward jump. So let's say you get the air Hurricane Kick. You can follow up with the EX Shoryuken just the same. The timing is a bit different, of course, if they're airborne. And one thing I almost forgot to mention is that the air Hurricane Kick can only be used during a forward jump. You can't use it during a neutral jump or a backward jump. Alright, so that covers his specials. Let's cover his critical art real quick. So Shinku Hadouken comes out really fast. Just like his fireballs, the button you press determines how fast it goes. So earlier I used the hard version, and that's the slow version. You can clearly see the difference. In juggles and combos, you usually just want to use the hard version. To my knowledge, I don't know if there's any purpose in using the different versions, or using the light versions. It is unsafe on block. It depends on the character. Everybody does have their own punishes, but that's something you should know.